All right, we are going to look at the last set of objections we often hear around maximum cash value life insurance policies, or the 1090 split. So, in the prior videos, we covered objections around the modified endowment contract, dividends, that was a ton of fun and very deep, term riders, company selection. We're going to address the next four all together in this video. We have a 1090 split, a minimum premium, is not what we read or see in a book. We cannot add more money to a 1090 design. That a 1090 design is a weak or flimsy base premium. But here's the one we never hear: compensation and the impact that has. So the last videos, in particular the dividend video, will really fit nicely into compensation, but let's get into it here. We will begin with the FUD tactic. FUD is not my idea, or I should say, I did not come up with that. A friend, someone we've been working with for quite some time, has really served as a mentor in business, mentioned this to me. It stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Strategies used in sales in general in all industries, where when someone is having a hard time selling a product, instead of going over the benefits of their product and services, instead they'll just sling mud at all of the competition. Don't work with them because of all of these bad reasons, but I won't go into any reasons as far as my product or service. That's the kind of stuff that we want to avoid, frankly. So, beginning. 1090 split is a weak or flimsy base premium. So I'm not quite sure what that means when we hear that. I mean, here's how I look at it. 1090 split results in the strongest cash value for the consumer and the weakest overall compensation for the agent when you look at it, no matter how you slice it. Not in a book. So on that, when it comes to the topic of reading books, I am a strong believer and fan of that. I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn and other motivational speakers, personal development coaches. Jim Rohn was definitely my favorite, is my favorite, even though he had passed, I believe it was 2009. But he said something once that really stuck with me in terms of reading books specifically, is when he talked about this, is that we don't want to be a follower, instead be a student, which is 100% correct, because there are books out there that obviously contradict each other. We can take some books that talk about cash value life insurance. I have a book that we wrote that goes over all types of ways to design a policy, but just because I wrote it down in a book does not mean that that policy is the option that everyone should go with. And if a book was written several years ago specifically on cash value life insurance, things update, like mortality tables, MEC limits, the new 7702 change. So the book that I wrote it prior to that change, and then before we released it, the change occurred. So now we're going to make some adjustments before we even release it. This way it was accurate, or it is accurate, I should say. But constant updates are required if I am looking at the numbers. And that's what individuals are interested in when it comes to cash value life insurance. So really how I like to look at it is learn as much as we possibly can from different resources in order to make the best overall decision for ourselves, family, business, whatever our objective is in using the cash value life insurance policy for. This one, we cannot add more money with a 1090 split or a minimum premium design. So I want to touch on this because this is important, and it's only true if you explain it in a certain way. So we'll always talk about utilizing a cash value life insurance policy, not as a bill where I pay the same premium every month, every year, but instead, how do I use it as a flexible savings asset and have the ability to adjust my payments over time? So if I want the ability to pay in $100,000 per year, and this could be $10,000 per year or $1 million per year. The ratios will always follow each other. If I want the ability to pay in $100,000 per year, where can my money go in a policy? If I have a 1090 split, this means I would have what? A $10,000 base premium. I would need to add a term insurance rider. Let's assume the cost of that, depending on my age, is $1,500 for a total of $11,500. And some companies will allow you to go a bit lower than that. But this means I can commit to $11,500 per year and have the ability, this is the key word here, not commitment, but ability to add up to $100,000 per year. So in PUAs, I can add approximately, we're just going to call it $90,000. It'll be a little bit less with the term rider, but this is where we always talk about that flexibility. So in theory, what I could do, and people we work with do just this, I could have a policy that has a MEC limit of $100,000, but I only pay in $40,000. So I'm paying in $40K per year with a $10K base premium. So I'm practicing a 25-75 split in theory there based on my cash flow, but I've built in additional window room. This way I can add more funds into an existing policy instead of having to open new policies again down the road and go through insurance expenses. Unless I'm up to the MEC limit and I've got a good problem where I've got excess funds, that's a different story. But the flexibility here is the key. So it is true, if I have the ability to pay up to $100,000 and I pay up to $100,000 per year, then I can't add more money. That would be the case with any type of design. If I'm funding up to my MEC limit, I can't add more money in. And that can be with a 50% premium, 100% premium, 10% premium, whatever it might be. So it's really just, looking at it and seeing how the policy is actually constructed. Am I maxing it out from the get-go? Or am I building in window room to give me the ability or opportunity to add more funds into a cash value life insurance policy with the core benefits being what? Safe, liquid, and tax-free. Tax-free if we do everything right. I know I say that all the time, but I just want to make sure I always make that clear. So, on those objections, those are my thoughts, right? Around not being able to add more money. You can, has to do with education and the design properly. 10% being a weak base premium, not quite sure what that means. Could be in respect to the MEC objections, but if you haven't watched our MEC limit video, I would go back to that. And then not in a book. I listened to Jim Rohn here, being a student of him. Do not be a follower, be a student. That's a good quote, and a lot of people have said it as well. I just particularly like his style. Now, here's the one no one ever talks about, compensation, or we rarely see it. When I pay money into a policy, if I'm being told don't go with a minimum base premium for all of these reasons under the sun, but this isn't mentioned, the base premium is the number one driver of compensation. It is. No matter how you slice it, the higher the base premium, the higher the commission. Now, I want to be very, very clear here. I do not see anything wrong with agents getting paid. Financial advisors, financial specialists, whatever it might be, I have zero issue with that whatsoever. What I do have an issue with is if an agent tries to justify, go with the higher base premium so they make a higher commission, but then it is at the consumer's expense. That is where I have an issue. Without digging into, hey, can I make the policy not MEC with the minimum premium? And we're assuming the consumer, the policyholder, came with the clear objective of setting up a policy for maximum cash value. That's what they are interested in. Maybe they want retirement income. Maybe it's to practice infinite banking. They want to be able to access the money, whatever it might be. That's their objective, and they were sold something different. And given these reasons, everything we hear, all the prior videos, but nothing around this. So that's where the transparency comes into play. So we've got videos on commissions, which I would encourage you to watch because I'm not going to go into full detail like I do in those videos here. But what you will find is with the base premium, if I have a $10,000 base premium in the first year, so year one, that commission will range anywhere between $9,000 to upwards of $13,000. Where that range comes into play has to do with the insurance company selection. Companies that solicit any business in the state of New York are required to abide by New York state's rules in all states. So those 4 major mutual companies, for example, all pay minimal commissions. Most of them are lower than that as well when you actually look at it. That's the high end, so I'm showing max limits. Smaller carriers that do not offer insurance in the state of New York can go upwards to $13,000 on the first year. Then years 2 through 10, there are renewal commissions. So if I'm a client, a policyholder, and I continue to pay that $10,000 base premium, a 5% on average renewal commission, in this case $500, is paid to the agent. Really what the agent is doing, the company's doing is saying, agent, we're going to pay you the small renewal commission, really as an incentive to maintain your relationship with the client and keep the business on the books. Smaller companies, you will see higher renewal rates as well. Now, on the PUA component, $10,000 PUA, we'll see the PUA range anywhere from $200 to $350 per deposit. That's the commission an insurance company will pay an agent when a policyholder makes a PUA payment. That's typically the range you see. They are very low because they do show up in cash value for the consumer. Remember, policy design, allocating money here is the key to maximizing the cash value, guaranteed, short-term non-guaranteed, and long-term based on non-guaranteed actual performance, not just illustrations, real data. So let's look at some data here to actually break it down. We're going to look at 2 case studies, one very thorough, one very detailed, and then one a bit more to the point that was an actual case study. So here, same company, same product, 1090 design. On the right, 3070 design. 1-year term rider compared to the level term rider. If you've seen the prior videos, this example will look very, very similar or familiar. So base premium $10,000, 1-year term rider, the company pays the same PUA commission rate on the 1-year term rider here. With a level term rider, they pay a higher commission. It's about 45%, whereas the 1-year term rider is 2% with this particular company. All companies do it different. I want to be transparent there. PUA component, PUA component. Net outlay, $100,000 per year. Cash value, let's get to the commissions. That's what this video is about. Base premium commission the first year with this company and product, $9,300, so 93% of the $10,000 in year 1. This is a policy that is heavily front-loaded in terms of commissions, not a corporate-based or executive benefit-based plan, which has lower upfront commissions, more long-term. So 93% on the base premium. On the PUA component, $1,800. Total commission in the first year to the agent, $11,100, where the consumer paid in $100,000 total, and the consumer has $87,500. So for the consumer, that is their maximum cash value. Example on the right, what do we see? $30,000 base premium. There's the term rider, PUA component. We've got the base premium commission, $28,500. And the PUA commission, $1,800. It's actually $1,372. Let me correct that real quick. See what I did? There we go. Okay, so $1,372. For the total compensation in the first year, just about $30,000, $29,892. Cash value to the consumer, $71,000. Purpose of this video is transparency, to be completely transparent. So here's what I want to touch on. Commission difference, same company, product, health rating, everything. About $19,000 more to the advisor or agent in this example. Yet to the consumer, we've got about $17,000 more in cash value. Big distinction there. So that's the kind of stuff I like to look at. Now, again, we're isolating the first year, so let's look at it each year thereafter. Here's the renewal commission, that 5% on base premium. Here's the renewal commission on PUAs, 2% every year. Okay, there we go. Total commission, $2,300 per year. Over here, just about $3,000 per year. Why it's that $2,941 has to do with the fact that the base premiums at 5%, the term rider also renews at 5% because it's a level term rider, and then the PUA is at 2%. So that $1,569 includes the base and the term. Time passes, right? So $3,000 per year, call it. Here's what I want to touch on. Over the span of 10 years, because they only paid in for 10 years in this example, example on the right, $56,000 in total compensation. Example on the left, 31, about $32,000 in total compensation. That is a difference of 24.5. So again, nothing wrong with agents making money. And if someone selects this option after seeing everything, perfectly fine. But here's the other thing I want to look at. 10 years in, $60,000 difference in cash value. That's the kind of stuff that, in my opinion, must be shown up front. Because let's assume that this policy was a better fit, maybe for flexibility. Some companies have limitations once a term rider drops off, or a higher split can make sense. But if I'm a consumer and I am sold that, and then I see this afterwards, what is going to go through my head? I'm going to think, okay, why on earth was I not shown this? I'm upset now, I'm defensive, I'm going to go talk to the agent, I've got a bad taste in my mouth, and it could be misplaced. But the thing is, where transparency comes into play and is so valuable is if I see everything up front, it's transparent, right? The consumer sees everything, we go through it. At our company, we document it, we record everything, provide recordings. That's why we do it, to be as transparent as possible. We don't want buyer's remorse to occur after the fact. I hate that feeling when I go through it. It's not pleasant. And then you feel like the agent starts blaming you, like, no, you're supposed to tell me. Anyway, so this kind of stuff is what I like to look at. What maximizes my cash value, and then how does compensation really work? So going back to the objection, when we hear, hey, this is better long term, you should go with this, there's a million reasons why this could be wrong. I want to see, okay, what is the actual data, all the prior videos we went through, and then this as well, is there a motive behind it, or is there not a motive? I mean, here, there's a difference, $25,000 difference. In the first year, $19,000 difference. Now, to amplify this a little bit, here's an actual case study. 44-year-old individual putting in $100,000 per year. Shown, it was a 25-70 split with a small recommended company. And then we have a 10-90 split with a large company. From a performance standpoint, this is no comparison. You're going to see the clear winner. Great upfront cash value. You've got $14,000 more due to the design. Large company, small company, first year, really no difference whatsoever. You won't see a difference. The design is where you will see a difference. If all things are equal in terms of policy design, then you can go with any company in the first year. They'll be very similar. As time passes here, you've got a double whammy where you've got the larger company projecting stronger numbers. Their dividend rate is higher, but we've got a minimum base premium as well, where it just becomes excessive over time. Their plan was to pay in $100,000 for 20 years, and then drop, in this example, the term rider was dropped in just $25,000 a year thereafter. So we duplicated that with the larger company. There's the cash value difference. But aside from that, here's what came up. So where we started off with compensation where smaller companies can pay, or non-New York companies, which a lot of smaller companies are non-New York, can and often pay higher compensation. So in this example, there's a much higher base premium. There's your base premium comp, PUA comp, total compensation with the smaller carrier. Compared to, look at that, 9,300, 1,800 PUA, 11,100. Aside from that, significantly greater value. Guaranteed too. So this is non-guaranteed, which is, do I think the gap will be that large? No, I don't when you look at actual performance. But at the same time, when you look at the guarantees, that was significant as well. And that's the kind of stuff you want to look at. So a lot of info here, as we always like to provide a lot of info. This way we can make a true educated decision and not just get caught up in the emotional FUD as far as don't do this, don't do that, and then we just freeze, do nothing, or buy something and regret it later. So if you're wondering what to do, here's what I would do. Research, but ask questions, specifically around policy design, company selection, compensation. That's okay to ask about. We have no problem whatsoever disclosing it. MEC testing, okay to ask about this. Really anything you want. Remember that if you're considering a policy, this is your money going into a policy, you're the consumer, anyone that you're working with, it's really their job to serve you, to make sure everything is set up properly, explain your benefits, go through the pros and cons. That's important. We don't ever want to feel like we cannot ask questions because it's going to annoy the person or rub them the wrong way. It's like, no. Someone mentioned that to me the other day. As far as, hey, I know you're not getting a new policy sale here. I've got a ton of questions. I feel bad. And what goes through my head is like, no, you don't have to feel like that. Like, I appreciate the fact that you trusted me initially to purchase a policy, work with us. Like, no, like, you've got us, me and my company. We're going to work with you, answer all your questions, ask away, because this is your money. If you bought a product off Amazon, you don't have to ask the questions because everything's provided up front. We want the same experience there. Study the wealthy. Going back to that saying, don't be a follower, be a student. Study these individuals and learn what to do. Or we can just copy them to an extent, but make the tweaks along the way. Because high cash value policies are not exclusive to them. They're not. Your money, about you, not the agent. So a lot of info here as far as this series around cash value policy objections. I do hope that it was helpful. Did not mean for any of it to be negative whatsoever. If you have questions, reach out anytime. And as always, I hope this helps. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.